Lagos at 8 p.m. was still alive, horns blaring, suya smoke curling in the air, and the faint throb of Afrobeats leaking from every rooftop bar. But inside the glass-walled office of Silvaline PR, Taif sat frozen at her desk, staring at the email that had just landed in her inbox. Subject: Promotion outcome, client account lead. Body: Dear Taif, thank you for your efforts during the launch campaign. Unfortunately, the client has decided to go with Ngozi as their preferred spokesperson, citing alignment with their streamlined image strategy. Best. HR. Streamlined image. The phrase glowed on her screen like a curse. She could feel her blood rushing hot in her ears. Ngozi? The same Ngozi who spent half the campaign posting gym selfies in between meetings? Taif slammed her laptop shut and grabbed her phone. Instagram opened instinctively. Her feed was an endless scroll of washboard abs, sculpted arms, and filtered smiles. A notification pinged. Ngozi's new story. Grind never stops, flex biceps, sparkles, hashtag team no excuses, hashtag flat tummy life. Taif's throat tightened. Streamlined image, she muttered, her voice cracking. So my brain isn't enough, ABI? Her phone buzzed. Dammy, her colleague and low-key frenemy. Dammy, you saw the email? Taif, yes. Dammy, come for happy hour. You need a drink. Taif tossed her phone aside, tears prickling her eyes. She wanted to scream, or maybe run 10 miles until her body shrank into something streamlined. Instead, she stood in front of the mirror near her desk. Perfect makeup. Perfect wig. Power suit still hugging her curves. And yet, apparently, not enough. She whispered to her reflection, fine. If they want perfect, I'll give them perfect. Abuja's evening air was cooler, but the living room of Obi's family house was warm with chatter and the smell of egusi soup. Chioma adjusted her wrapper and sat upright as her mother-in-law entered, regal as ever, her geli towering like a crown. Chioma, Mama began with a smile that wasn't quite warm. How is the baby? She's eating well? Yes, Mama, Chioma replied, forcing a smile. She's thriving. Good. Mama's eyes dropped to Chioma's midsection. You know, in my time, by 4 months postpartum, the stomach was already flat. Obi's ex. That one. By 3 months, you would think she was never pregnant. The women in the room tittered. Chioma's grip on her baby's blanket tightened. Obi, sitting beside her, laughed nervously. Mama, leave Chioma. She's fine. She's not fine, Mama interrupted sharply. Obi is a public figure. People are watching. They will say, see his wife. She let herself go. Chioma's chest burned. That night, back in their own house, she stood in front of her bedroom mirror in the dim light. Her baby was asleep in the cot, Obi snoring softly. Chioma tied a waist trainer, so tight that she gasped. If Mama wanted a flat stomach, then a flat stomach she would have. But when she bent to pick up a dropped pacifier, her vision blurred, her breath caught, and she nearly collapsed. She tore the waist trainer off, sobbing quietly. Something had to change. Something drastic. Nena's office on Victoria Island was a temple of deadlines. The clock read 11:47 p.m. when she finally hit send on the financial forecast. She rubbed her temples and leaned back, exhausted. Her suit hung loose on her frame now, almost comically. Wow, Nena, her coworker Ada said as she walked past. You've dropped weight, oh. What's your secret? Nena forced a laugh. The secret is working until midnight every day. Ada winked. Whatever it is, you look hot. CEO material. When Ada left, Nena opened her phone and saw a message from Chinidu, her ex-fiancé. Chinidu, saw your picture from the gala. Finally looking like the woman I always knew you could be. Keep it up. Her chest tightened. He hadn't changed, still making her feel like his approval was currency. She opened her meal delivery app, stared at the menu, then closed it. She was too tired to eat, too tired to think. Her reflection in the office window looked back at her, sharper cheekbones, sunken eyes. And for one terrifying moment she liked it. The rooftop bar was buzzing with laughter, Afrobeats, and clinking glasses. Taif sat with Dammy, who was sipping a mocktail and looking annoyingly perfect in a silk top that draped just right. So, Dammy said, leaning forward conspiratorially, how long are you going to sulk? Taif glared. Ngozi got my promotion, Dammy. Because she's thinner. What am I supposed to do? Starve. Dammy's smile widened. You don't have to starve. There's another way. Taif frowned. Another way? Dammy lowered her voice. Wellness peptides. OMIC. It's what the influencers use. Speeds up metabolism, kills appetite. You just glide. Taif blinked. That sounds illegal. It's not illegal. Just imported. Dammy winked. I can send you the link. But don't tell anyone. It's my little secret. Taif hesitated. Does it work? Dammy gave her a long, slow look, then gestured at her body. What do you think? Taif swallowed hard. The music seemed to fade. For the first time that night, she felt a spark of hope. Or was it desperation? Send me the link, she whispered. The next morning, Taif woke to a text notification. Dammy, here's the site. Use code DAMMY10 for a discount winking face. Within minutes, Taif had placed the order. Her heart thudded as she clicked confirm. By evening, a courier was at her door, holding a small white cooler box. Delivery for Miss Taif, he said, handing it over with a grin that made it feel like contraband. She shut the door, locked it, and set the box on the kitchen counter. Inside was a sleek silver pen-like injector, a tiny vial, and a folded instruction sheet that looked like it was written by a scientist for other scientists. Taif skimmed it, frowned, then tossed it aside. How hard can it be? She muttered, filling the pen. In the bathroom mirror, she rolled up her sleeve, took a deep breath, and pressed the injector into her arm. The click was soft, almost anticlimactic, but the rush that followed? Like lightning under her skin. By nightfall, her stomach churned and growled so loudly it sounded like a live band. She clutched her belly, laughing nervously. Okay, this is normal. Just the first day, she told herself, even as a wave of nausea rolled over her. She lay in bed, wide-eyed, her phone in hand. On Instagram, Ngozi was posting another perfectly plated salad. Taif double-tapped it, and then whispered into the dark, this better be worth it. The sun was barely up when Taif rolled out of bed, clutching her stomach. It was like a war drum in there. Dear Lord, she groaned, stumbling to the bathroom. Her body felt like a Fuji band had set up shop inside her intestines, drums, Shakir, and talking drums all playing out of sync. By 8 a.m., she couldn't even look at the breakfast her housekeeper set on the table. You no day chop today? The woman asked, surprised. Not hungry, Taif croaked, waving her away. By noon, the hunger wasn't just gone. It was murdered, buried, and mourned. The mere smell of food from the office kitchen made her gag. At 3 p.m., Dammy slid into her office with that smug grin again. So, she said, perching on the edge of Taif's desk, how was your first day on OMIC? My stomach sounds like it's hosting a music festival, Taif muttered. But I'm not hungry. At all. Exactly. Dammy clapped. That's the point. This is safe, right? Dammy rolled her eyes. Taif, do I look dead to you? Taif didn't answer. But that night, staring at her flat belly in the mirror, she decided it was worth it. Chioma knelt on the cool tiles of her bedroom, head bowed, tears dripping silently onto her wrapper. God, she whispered, I just want to feel like myself again. Not like this. Not like a stranger in my own skin. The baby's wail pierced the air, and she scooped her up, holding her close. Obi came in, looking exhausted from work. Chioma, he said gently, why are you crying? She hesitated. Your mother. She keeps comparing me to your ex. Obi sighed, rubbing his face. Ignore her. You just had a baby. I can't ignore her. Chioma snapped, louder than she intended. Do you know what it's like to be reminded every day that you're not enough? That you are embarrassing the family? Obi was quiet. That night, after he had gone to bed, she opened her phone and messaged her university friend, Ifioma. Chioma, babe, I can't do this. I need help. I need to snap back fast. Ifioma. There's something Typh used. Some injection. I can connect you. Chioma stared at the message for a long moment, then typed, Chioma, do it. Nena was a vision that night, or so everyone said. The ballroom at the Eco Convention Center glittered with chandeliers as Lagos finance elite mingled, glasses of champagne in hand. Girl, you're serving. Ada whispered as they walked in. Chinidu is here tonight. Show him what he's missing. Nena's stomach twisted, but she forced a smile. And then she saw him. Chinidu, tall, commanding, still devastatingly handsome in his tux. He spotted her and a slow smile spread across his face. Well, he said, striding toward her. Nena, you finally listened. She blinked. Listened. You always said you were too busy to look after yourself, he said lightly, eyes scanning her slimmer frame. But look at you now. This is the version of you I always knew was in there. Something in her chest cracked. Instead of feeling vindicated, she felt hollow. After he walked away, Ada grinned. Did you see his face? You won, babe. But as Nena sipped her champagne, her hand shook. If this was winning, why did it feel like losing? Chioma stared in horror as her baby cried again, tiny fists waving desperately. Her milk had dried up almost overnight. She tried everything, pumping, herbal teas, prayers, but her breasts stayed stubbornly empty. Obi came home to find her sobbing on the couch. What's wrong? He asked, panicked. I can't feed her, Chioma choked out. I can't feed my own child. Obi took the baby, rocking her gently. We'll get formula. It's not the same. Chioma snapped. I did this. I took something to make me lose weight. Obi froze. You what? Chioma buried her face in her hands. I just wanted to be enough. For you. For your family. Obi crouched down, forcing her to meet his eyes. Chioma, you were enough before any of this. We can fix this. Please. Just stop whatever you took. That night, she sat on the bathroom floor, clutching the injection pen. Her baby's cries echoed in her ears. With trembling hands, she threw the pen into the toilet, flushed, and whispered through her tears. Never again. The scale read the number she'd been chasing for months. Typh grinned, snapping a mirror selfie. She posted it immediately. Disciplined, desired gemstone sparkles, #boss moves, #glow up. The likes poured in within minutes. Comments too. Gozi, Yas Queen, body goals. Random follower. How do you stay so disciplined? Another, teach us your ways, sis. She closed the app, stomach churning. At the office celebration that evening, her boss raised a glass. To Typh, you look incredible, and you crushed the last campaign. Everyone cheered. Typh raised her champagne glass, then discreetly poured it into a nearby plant when no one was watching. Her throat burned with acid. She hadn't eaten all day. As laughter echoed around her, she forced a smile. Inside, she was empty. Literally. The conference room was silent except for the soft hum of the projector. Nena stood at the head of the table, laser pointer in hand, presenting the quarterly risk analysis to the CEO and the senior partners. This was her moment, the culmination of weeks of sleepless nights. Her mouth was dry. Her heart raced. As we can see, if we shift our investment strategy by 10%. Her voice trailed off. Her vision blurred. The room tilted. Someone gasped as she staggered. The laser pointer clattered to the floor. Nena, the CEO said sharply. She tried to respond, but her legs gave way. She hit the carpet hard. The last thing she saw before darkness swallowed her was Ada's panicked face leaning over her. When she woke up, the smell of antiseptic filled her nose. A nurse was checking her for line. You're awake, the nurse said calmly. Thank God. You fainted from dehydration and exhaustion. You're lucky your colleagues brought you in quickly. Nena tried to sit up, but her body felt like lead. Miss, the nurse said, her tone firm, your blood work shows malnutrition. Your cortisol levels are through the roof. If you don't slow down, you'll break your own body. Nena's throat tightened. Everyone says I look amazing, she whispered. The nurse gave her a sad smile. Looking amazing doesn't matter if you end up in the morgue. The words hit like a slap. For the first time in months, Nena felt fear. Real fear. Chioma sat cross-legged on the bathroom floor, her back against the cold tiles. Her baby slept in the next room. Obi was on the phone, probably explaining to his mother why Chioma wouldn't be coming to family lunch this Sunday. The empty injection pen lay on the floor in front of her. She picked it up, turning it over in her hands, as if it might offer answers. Her reflection in the mirror showed a slimmer, sharper face, but her eyes were hollow. "This is what it cost," she whispered. She stood, walked to the toilet, and dropped the pen in. It floated for a moment, mocking her, before she flushed. As the water swirled, tears streamed down her face. She grabbed the box with the remaining vials, ran to the sink, and poured every last drop down the drain. The acrid smell filled the air. When it was done, she slid to the floor, chest heaving. Obi came in quietly and knelt beside her. "No more secrets," she said, her voice hoarse. He wrapped his arms around her. "No more," he promised. Taif never thought she would end up here, on a hospital bed with an4 drip in her arm. She had collapsed in her bathroom that morning, her head spinning so badly she'd crawled to her phone to call for help. When she opened her eyes, a nurse was standing over her, unimpressed. "You people and your injections," the nurse said with a shake of her head. "All of you want to be Instagram models. For what?" "It's not like that," Taif whispered weakly. "Oh." The nurse raised an eyebrow. "Then what is it like?" Taif turned her face away, ashamed. "It was for work," she admitted. "For respect. For a promotion." The nurse sighed. "Respect won't matter if you're dead, my dear. Your body is not a laboratory for experiments." Taif closed her eyes. Her phone buzzed on the side table. Another notification, more likes, more comments on her glow-up post. She almost laughed. They had no idea she was lying there, pale and weak, hooked to a drip. The realization hit her like a slap. She had almost died for strangers' validation. Back home, Chioma scrolled aimlessly through her phone, baby sleeping peacefully beside her. A headline caught her eye on a popular gossip blog. Breaking, rising finance executive collapses during boardroom presentation. Curious, she clicked. There was a picture of Nena on a stretcher, looking frighteningly frail. Chioma's breath caught. She recognized her from mutual acquaintances. "I know her," she murmured. Ifioma, her old school friend, confirmed it on a call. "Yes, that's Nena. Brilliant girl. But she's been under insane pressure. Maybe you should check on her." Chioma hesitated, then made a decision. She got Dammy's number through Taif and sent a message. "Chioma, please. Give Nena my number. I think we need to talk." Hours later, her phone rang. "Hello," Chioma said cautiously. "Chioma? This is Nena. You said you wanted to talk." "Yes," Chioma said softly. "I think we have more in common than you know." The umla spot was noisy, smoky, and gloriously alive with the clatter of plates and laughter. Taif walked in first, still pale but determined. Chioma was already seated in a corner booth, baby at home with Obi. Moments later, Nena arrived, still a little unsteady, but smiling faintly. The three women stared at each other for a long moment, strangers, yet not strangers. "I almost lost my baby's milk because of this madness," Chioma said quietly. "I almost lost my job and my life," Nena admitted. "And I almost died trying to be promotion-ready," Taif added bitterly. They all laughed, a strange, cathartic laugh that turned into tears. When the waiter came, they ordered everything on the menu. Yudu, goat meat, fried plantain. When the food arrived, steaming and fragrant, they dug in with reckless abandon. No calorie counting, no corsets. Just three women, eating, crying, and talking until the noise of the umla spot faded around them. When they were done, Chioma raised her cup of palm wine. "No apologies," she said. "No apologies," Taif and Nena echoed, their voices firm. And in that moment, something inside each of them shifted, a quiet but unshakable resolve that they would never again trade their peace for society's approval. The afternoon sky over Lagos was the color of wet cement when Nena stepped out of the elevator and onto marble floors that remembered her shoes. The lobby smelled faintly of polish and expensive cologne. She had not expected to be here again so soon, but the hospital's fluorescent lights had clarified something in her. There were conversations she'd left to rot. Today she would exhume them. Her phone vibrated. A message from Ada. Ada, boss asks if you're up to meet. Says it can be brief. Nena, I'm here. I'll keep it brief too. The CEO's office was glass, panoramic, a view of the Atlantic like a screensaver. He rose, offered a concerned smile, gestured toward a chair. How are you feeling? He asked. Alive, she said. That's new. He nodded. Good. We're revisiting workloads. You pushed too hard. She held his gaze. I wasn't just pushing. I was being pushed. She let the words hang. The culture here loves outcomes, not bodies. It praises weight loss without asking why. The day I collapsed, I hadn't eaten in 24 hours. His face pinched. That's regrettable. Regrettable is a coffee stain, she said calmly. This was a collapse. If you want to keep your best people, you need to measure success by sustainability, not sacrifice. Silence settled between them, followed by something that looked like respect in his eyes. Draft what you'd change, he said. I'll read it. I will, she said, standing. But I'm no longer interested in saving a place that would rather bury me and call it ambition. I'll send you a transition plan. He blinked. You're resigning? I'm choosing life. She left before he could make it sound irresponsible. The second confrontation had waited in the crook of her throat for months. Chinita's favorite rooftop bar, with the white lanterns and the view of the city, hadn't changed. Nena stood by the railing as evening thickened into velvet. She texted him only a time and the word talk. He'd replied with a thumbs up, as if his approval were currency. He arrived in a navy suit and an easy smile. You look. Don't, she said gently, hand raised. Don't start with my body. It doesn't belong to your compliments or your criticism. The smile faltered. I was just. You were always just something, she said, steady. Just helping. Just advising. Just loving me better. But your love came with a tape measure. He scoffed lightly. That's unfair. What's unfair is you dancing on my insecurities and calling it coaching. She pulled out her phone, opened their chat, scrolled to the old pictures he used to send, a celebrity trainer's before and afters, motivation captions. She turned the screen toward him. This was not love. His jaw tensed. You've changed. Finally, she said. I'm no longer available for instructions. You still believe thinness equals worth. I pity you. He stepped closer. Come on, Nena. You and I. No, she said. You and your ideal. Not me. Her thumb hovered over block. She met his eyes, pressed it, and felt a door seal in her chest. She turned to leave, then paused, looking back just once. My success will never be your choreography again. She walked away, heart beating wild. Not with fear this time, but with a clean, exhilarating emptiness. The kind that makes space. On her way home, she messaged the new group chat she, Taif, and Chioma had created after Umla night. Nena deleted him. Deleted the job. I want to breathe. Taif. Proud of you. Tomorrow my turn. Chioma, you both are thunder. I'm done apologizing for the sound. At dawn, the city still yawned. Taif laced her beat-up sneakers, old friends from a less complicated time, and stepped onto her street. The air was gentle. Dogs barked 2 streets away. A hawker called out, hopeful and musical. She started to walk, then jog, then laugh at herself because she was out of breath before the first bend, and somehow that laughter felt like a good omen. She had opened her phone at midnight and stared at the grid that had been her prison. Abs, angles, a gallery of compliance. Her thumb hovered over select. She mass-selected 8 posts, The ones that pretended discipline when the truth was dehydration, and hit delete. She didn't explain. She didn't announce. She just took her life back, nibble by nibble. By mid-morning, she was in the office, hair in a breezy bun, a loose shirt that didn't pinch, shoes without ambition. Dammy appeared at her doorway like a magazine ad, silk blouse, glassy lips, a smile that said my life is a brochure. You deleted half your feed, Dammy said, folding her arms. People are asking. They can ask, Typh said, stacking papers. I'll answer with work. Dammy leaned on the doorframe. You're still using the peptide, right? I can get you a new batch. Discount. She winked. Typh's stomach turned at the memory of the hospital drip. No. Dammy's eyes narrowed. Don't get self-righteous now. You begged me for the link. And I'm grateful, Typh said softly. You gave me a mirror I didn't know I needed. I looked into it and saw a liar. Dammy smirked. You think walking will fix your career? Be serious, Typh. These clients make mood boards out of people. And maybe, Typh said, standing, it's time we make strategy out of integrity. She opened her laptop, typed a message to HR, and CC'd her boss. The subject line read, Proposed Ethical Standards for Client Representation. Inside, she wrote short, sharp lines, guidelines against body-based representation bias, support for health-first culture, transparent policies about influencer partnerships, and enhancement disclosures. She didn't know if they'd adopt any of it. She knew she needed to try. Her phone buzzed. A DM from some fitness influencer. Sis, where did you get that waist? Typh typed, then erased, then typed again, from nearly starving. I don't recommend it. She hit send. Then she blocked them all, the supplement sellers, the coaches, the miracle evangelists, clearing her DMs like a rainy season drain. At lunch, she ate jollof rice without asking it to keep a secret. She walked after work, not to burn a story into her thighs, but to feel the wind on her face. She slept that night like someone who had been forgiven. In Abuja, Chioma took a different kind of walk. Her mother-in-law sat on the veranda, regal in lilac lace, sipping zobo, eyes sharp enough to slice. Chioma sat opposite, hands flat on her wrapper, spine straight. Mama, she began, I won't be coming for the women's meeting this week. I'm tired. Mama's brow arched. Tired? Young women these days. Mama, Chioma said again, louder, but gentle. I'm tired of apologizing for my body. I nearly harmed myself. I harmed my milk. I won't do it again. Silence flickered. Birds gossiped in the mango tree. I am raising your granddaughter with love, Chioma continued. If you want to help, please support me. If you want to compare me to ghosts from Obi's past, I will not attend. Obi stood in the doorway, almost invisible in his quiet pride. Mama took a slow breath. The sternness softened, barely. People will talk, she said. They will, Chioma said. Let them talk about how I chose peace. A long beat. Then Mama set down the cup. Bring my granddaughter inside. The sun is hot. It wasn't an apology, but it was a bridge. Later, Chioma texted the group. Chioma, I didn't ask the river permission to flow. It flows. Today I flowed. They rented a tiny studio wedged between a fabric shop and a cobbler on a lively street in Suralere. The walls were foam-paneled, like a DIY spaceship. A rattling fan introduced itself into every test recording until a sound guy named Faye, friend of a friend who wanted to help, brought a quiet box fan and a trick involving hanging duvets. What's the name again? He asked, plugging in microphones. Wajala walls, Typh said, smiling. The walls where women hang the weight and tell the truth. And spell it how? He asked, fingers poised over a label maker. Wajala, Chioma said, laughing. It's our chaos. Our walla. But we're building walls that hold, not collapse. Nena rolled a spare chair under the fold-out table. Episode 1 is Skinny is Not Peace, right? We go first person, no filters, no edits. Are we ready for the comments? Chioma asked, half joking, half braced. We survived ourselves, Typh said. Everyone else is just commentary. They wrote an outline on a whiteboard, open with confessions. Define the lie. Read letters from listeners, if any. Bring in a doctor by episode 3. Create a resource list. The structure calmed their nerves. Intention, not improvisation. Wounds, but dressed. The red light blinked. Welcome to Ajala Walls, Taif began, voice trembling into strength. I'm Taif. 2 months ago, I nearly dehydrated myself into a promotion, and Instagram clapped while my body begged. I'm Chioma, she followed, soft but iron. I swallowed a quick fix and watched my milk dry up. People told me I looked good. My baby stayed hungry. I'm Nena, came last measured. I collapsed at work. They called it ambition. My doctor called it malnutrition. Skinny is not peace, and we're here to prove it. They recorded for 53 minutes. They cried once, laughed thrice, and when the red light went dark, Faye spun his chair and said, simply, that was brave. They didn't know how to build an audience. They only knew how to tell the truth, so they started there. They cut short clips for social media. Taif admitting she deleted her discipline posts. Chioma holding up an empty breast pump with a small, sad smile. Nena telling people to eat before they sent a deck. They posted the first episode at midnight, then forgot the algorithms and slept. By afternoon, the numbers were confusingly generous. A book club shared it. A postpartum support group shared it. An influencer who had once sold detox tea stitched a clip and wrote a caption that read, I owe people honesty. This was me too. Dammy texted Taif a single message. Bold. Taif put her phone face down and kept editing episode 2. 3 days later, they recorded in the presence of a guest, a Lagos GP with a calm voice and a vocabulary that never felt like a show. He said things like your body is trying to keep you alive, not Instagram approved. He gave them a clinic's number for mothers who needed lactation support and insisted they pin it in the show notes. They ended with something they called a food moment. Each woman described a meal they ate with full permission. Chioma described akra soaked in pepper sauce and bread that remembered warmth. Nena described ifo riro cooked slowly until the spinach sang. Taif described mangoes, the way the juice ran down her wrist, how she didn't reach for a napkin too quickly. The comments arrived like rain. The clip of Chioma went first. She sat at the table, chin lifted, eyes clear. If the price of being snatched is starving my child, return it. I don't want it. The video sailed past 1 million views in 2 days. Women stitched it with tears and banter, with their own confessions. One wrote, I almost ordered the pen last night. I threw it away. Thank you. Another wrote, my mother-in-law is the same. Sending this to my husband. A third, I'm a trainer. I'm changing my program today to include rest days and mental health referrals. Then came the clip of Nena. I want to unpair ambition from anemia. A university added it to a thread on student wellness. A bank's HR quietly reached out, asked for private Q&A for managers. She said yes, but on one condition. They had to change their late meeting policy. By week's end, they did. Taif's clip. Discipline didn't glow me up. Dehydration did. Set a different corner of the internet on fire. Brands panicked, issuing disclaimers. Influencers posted notes app apologies. A gut-wrenching DM arrived from a 19-year-old who had been buying injections off Telegram. My chest hurts when I climb stairs. I didn't think anyone would understand. Thank you. Taif forwarded the message to the GP. They found the girl an appointment. They weren't moral police. They were survivors. That distinction mattered. They made it clear in episode 2, titled, You're not a villain for wanting to be wanted. They talked about context, class pressure, Lagos, and Abuja status economies, how proximity to power demanded a body type, how love sometimes sounded like tighten your waist. They did not preach. They admitted complicity. The audience rewarded them with trust. With trust came invitations. A morning show asked them to come on air. They agreed on another condition. The show would include a lactation consultant and a young man willing to talk to other men about what it meant to not critique postpartum bodies. The producer hesitated, then said yes. During the taping, the young man looked into the camera and said, Brothers, help with the baby. Leave her waist alone. The clip trended under the tag, #LeaveHerWaist. In Abuja, Chioma's mother-in-law started sending voice notes, cautious checks, unsolicited soup recipes. Add ugu, she insisted once. It's good for blood. It sounded like love, awkward and untrained, but love nonetheless. Dami watched from the edges of the internet. She scrolled past their clips, past the swelling cheers, past the girl whose lungs were finally full. She opened her medicine cabinet. The chillbox vials blinked up at her like small, clever lies. She closed the door. They hosted a live recording at a community center in Yaba. Plastic chairs, a squeaky mic, an audience of women whose laughter could repair a peer. They handed out envelopes with referral numbers, dietitians who wouldn't sell starvation, gynecologists who wouldn't congratulate sudden weight drops without context, mental health hotlines that answered on the first ring. They read a letter from a grandmother who wrote, "We did it to our daughters. We didn't know better. Teach us." The room hummed. "The glow you want," Taif said at the close, "is the light that stays when the camera is off." The crowd rose like a wave. 1 year later, a Saturday rain had rinsed Lagos of its dust. The Wajalawal studio had moved to a bigger space with plants that minded their business and a couch that forgave shoes. A small neon sign buzzed recording in cursive on the door. On the wall hung printed comments from listeners who had given permission to be framed. One read, "I ate EBA at noon and didn't apologize to my reflection." Another, "I wore my maternity jeans to the office because they're comfortable and no one died." A third, "I'm 13. I stopped counting my ribs." Episode 52, the Season 1 finale. They decided to record it at dusk, when everything feels honest. Faye, now their producer with an actual contract, adjusted levels and saluted them with his energy drink. "Let's land this plane," he grinned. The red light blinked on. "Welcome to the Season 1 finale of Wajalawals," Taif began, voice steady with awe. "A year ago, we told the internet our ugliest truths and no one stoned us. Instead, you built a house around us. We said skinny is not peace, and the world argued, then listened," Chioma added. "To every mother who fed herself and her child even when the comments told you to shrink, this is yours. And to every person who chose health over applause," Nena said, "we saw you. We kept going because you kept writing." They spent a segment reading updates from earlier guests. The GP had helped start a small coalition for ethical wellness advertising. The lactation consultant's clinic reported record visits and funding that kept the doors open. The young man from TV had started a men's group called Hands, Not Hype, teaching new fathers to show up with presents, not prescriptions. They played a montage of their own bloopers. Laughter like bells. Taif's cackle. Chioma's wheeze. Nena's smooth voice breaking on a joke she loved. Then they did the last food moment of the season. "I ate umla with my mother-in-law last week," Chioma said, grinning. She added too much pepper, but called it healing. "I learned to bake," Nena confessed. "My cake sank in the middle. I ate the middle. It was perfect." Taif lifted a mason jar. "I drink water because I'm thirsty now, not because I'm trying to trick a scale." They paused, and in that pause lived 1,000 small resurrections. "Before we end," Taif said, "we owe you the truth about something else." She inhaled. "When we started, I was scared of Dami. Not as a person, but as a mirror. I wanted what she had. Now I want her to be well, too." "People aren't villains," Chioma said. "Systems are. But people can choose. If you're listening and still using what we once used, we see you. We don't hate you. We're waiting for your story." "My doctor once told me that recovery isn't a straight line," Nena said. "It's a small circle we walk daily. Breakfast. Breath. Boundary. Repeat." They turned off the mics and sat in the hum of afterglow. "Group dinner?" Taif asked, grabbing her tote. "Please," Chioma said. "And I'm ordering aggressively." They chose the same umla spot because some altars deserve a second dedication. The place was busier now. Someone had painted the walls a cheerful yellow. A teenage girl recognized them and waved shyly. The owner pretended not to know they were famous, but kept refilling their water with the pride of a secret ally. They piled their table high. Umla again. okra that sparkled with palm oil, tilapia with blistered skin, moin that steamed like it had prayers inside. They removed their figurative corsets and their literal blazers. Phones stayed in bags. The world could wait outside for a plate or two. Remember the first time? Chioma asked, mouth tilted with memory. We cried into goat meat. I almost choked on laughter, Taif said. And on plantain. I left that day with a headache from relief, Nena added. Like I'd been breathing wrong for years. They ate, then slowed, then softened. Lightning kept far away. The night agreed to be kind. Across the room, a woman in a blue dress stood and came over, hesitating, hands wringing the air. I'm sorry, she said, breathless. I don't want to disturb. You're not, Taif smiled. Sit for a second. I listened to your episode about office policies, the woman said. I run HR at a tech company in Lekki. We changed our maternity return policy. We added a lactation room. Her eyes glistened. We didn't know we could just change it. You can, Chioma said, squeezing her hand. You did. The woman laughed, wiped her eyes, stood, and left their table with a gratitude that lit the corners of the room. They watched her go. Silence settled. Not awkward, not waiting, full. Taif pulled 3 small plastic flutes from her tote and a bottle wrapped in brown paper. Non-alcoholic, she announced. I promised my stomach I'd retire from showing off. She poured. The bubbles rose like applause. They stood, glasses in hand. 3 women who had once built cages and now built rooms. To the whole woman, Taif said. Not the whole why woman, Chioma finished, voice warm with mischief. Whose worth isn't measured in inches or in likes, Nena added. They clinked. They drank. And then they ate some more because joy and food belong in the same sentence when the sentence is true. Later that night, each woman retreated to her own quiet. In Abuja, Chioma lay beside her daughter, now toddling in dreams, and listened to her soft sleep sighs. Obi entered, leaned on the doorframe, watched both of them with a light in his face that had learned reverence. He crawled into bed, placed his hand over Chioma's, and whispered, Thank you for staying. In Lekki, Taif opened her window and let the late breeze part the curtains. She scrolled to the bottom of her camera roll, to hospital floors and 4 scars, and then back up to a video of herself jogging badly, triumphantly, hair wild, laughter reckless. She set an alarm not for the gym, not for punishment, but for a morning walk and a meeting about the new ethical standards HR had actually adopted. They'd printed them, pinned them. She'd cried in the bathroom, then laughed because progress makes you cry in bathrooms sometimes. In a quieter neighborhood, Nena sat at a small wooden desk in an apartment with plants that could tolerate beginners. A contract lay in front of her, consulting with 3 companies on humane productivity models. She capped her pen and looked at her calendar. A baking class on Saturday. A slow Sunday. An empty Monday evening on purpose. She sent a message to the group chat. Nena, baking tomorrow. If it collapses, I'm eating the middle again. A steady, golden, enough. To the whole woman. Always. The end. Chioma, save me a plate. I'll bring pepper soup that doesn't ask for permission. Taif. We remain unserious about suffering. Her phone buzzed again, a DM from a name she recognized, Dammy. The message was careful, as if stepping on new tiles. Where did you guys get the doctor from episode 3? Asking for me. Nena smiled, forwarded the contact, and wrote back, no judgment. Just walls that hold. After a pause, a reply. Thank you. She turned off the lamp. The city hummed its metallic lullaby. Somewhere, a car horn complained. Somewhere else, a generator sighed. In between, a chorus of crickets offered proof that life insists. The Wajala wall's neon blinked out for the night. But on timelines and in kitchens and on public buses, the words they'd said kept moving. A girl at a hair salon told her stylist she didn't want her edges ripped to prove her pain tolerance. A manager sent his team home at 5 p.m. and meant it. A grandmother spooned a gussie into her daughter's bowl and said nothing about the 3rd helping. Across Lagos and Abuja, and then far beyond, the lie loosened its grip. In the morning, there would be new work. Questions to answer, grief to witness, systems to bend. But for this one night, the toast held, steady, golden enough. To the whole woman. Always. The end.